And coming online soon will be Ana Marie Panton of Philippine Star and Robbie Alampay of One News from Mandaluyong. Bossing, happy Monday.
Hello. Happy Monday.
I think
Trying
we're
to be
waiting. Okay. I think we're waiting for an address by the president sometime
happy.
tonight.
Yes.
I don't
Ano
know
bang
what's
balita ron?
not
I-extend
sure
ba?
nga
Ano
eh. But it's a bit too early for them to make a decision on whether or not to extend. It's only the 10th. Hanggang 18 pa naman yung
yes.
MGCQ eh. O
Yes.
MECQ. So
Or
there's still a week left.
yes. Ano kaya yun, no? Para saan?
I
Baka,
didn't get any indication as to what it was about eh.
al- although si presidential spokesman Harry Roque brought it up in his presser, something about there is real danger or risk in extending the MECQ.
because
I
of the economy.
wonder why. Yes, I wonder why he even brought that up. Was somebody actually asking, or you know, actually projecting that it might actually be extended? Pero, diba, it was a come from left field.
Mm-hmm.
No?
Baka naman it's because of the announcement just the other day or a couple of days ago about the drop in the GDP to
ECQ.
negative 16.5. So
I
they're looking
know,
at
but
the numbers. It's worse than they expected.
yeah, but
At
how
least for the
can an
second quarter.
extended MECQ help? Diba? I mean, nobody was thinking about an extended MECQ in light precisely of the recession news.
Mm-hmm.
Diba?
Mm-hmm.
So parang you were wondering, I was wondering, parang, meron na vote yun na dapat i-extend? I
And
wonder.
and the other thing just for the past few days yung well it depends on your point of view pero for some people kasi it sounds like a turnaround. Now people the health department is looking at the antibody testing in a completely different light altogether. Now they're saying that antibody testing should not be used for screening. It should only be used for people who have recovered already from the virus, not
Yes,
for
yes.
finding out if you have. But you know, since March and April, a lot of
We've
people,
been doing that.
including the
Yes,
presidential advisor on entrepreneurship,
right.
have been launching all these
Rapid
initiatives
test.
to bring in rapid
Yes,
testing for employers to test their
right.
employees. You're talking about
Exactly.
big business. You're talking about the ARC, yung kay Joey Concepcion.
Oo nga. So, what's
And
your
that was
point
for screen
because of that?
that was for screening purposes.
Yes,
They were
I know. In fact, they were thinking of removing that entirely, diba? And just using the gold standard,
which is the
the,
RT-PCR.
yeah, yes.
Yeah. But what I'm
So,
saying is that in the past few days, the DOH has been saying that no, itong antibody testing should not be used for screening, and they've been saying that we've been saying that all along. It should not be used for screening, but from the very start, it's been used for screening by a lot of
yes,
private enterprises, including the group of the presidential advisor on entrepreneurship. And so parang di ba sila nag-uusap? Kasi for 3 months, it's being done that way. Na nag-screen sila with the antibody test kits.
I think that's one of the things that they're actually re-examining now. But last I heard, they were going to push through with it because I think it was here in the Chiefs where Yusek Brahere said that it's still useful as an initial test. And then yung mga negatives nga, yun yung mga pakukunan nila ng RT-PCR. Di ba? She assured,
Kasi
us that
kanina we had her as a guest kanina in the newscast and she will say it should not be used for screening at all. It should only be used, it's useful lang talaga it's useful lang talaga for testing those who have recovered.
That's a dramatic shift. What she said. I recall that she said that.
So,
asked her about
kaya may ganun eh. may ganun eh. And that's why I bring back our interviews previously with Secretary Joy Concepcion. And they sounded pretty convincing even then we don't have any other test kits except for these that are immediate. So let's use these to screen people na.
Pati nga yung drive-thru sa Manila, di ba? Na free.
Di ba?
Rapid
Di ba?
test lang yun. Yeah.
Di ba?
Imagine ang dami nang nagganon, di ba?
But now
Tapos
it
you
turns
don't
out,
have, because you were saying it's a toss coin, right?
yeah,
It's like
which
tossing a
is
coin.
all the
So it's
doctors we talk to are saying
50-50.
that.
So you could
You
be
might as well
half.
get kung ano ng piso, ganun din ang labas nun.
Yun nga. So, parang nakakapagtaka na yung policy dyan. Hindi mo na malaman kung they should just do
40%,
away with it entirely, no?
at 40% reliability, mas reliable pa yung 50-50 ng toss coin.
That's true.
At least yung toss coin 50-50.
Yes.
So
right.
these new things, or I don't know if we've been
No, but
misreading
what
it
does
or
that
we've been
have to
mishearing
do?
it.
What does that have to do with the announcement tonight? If there's going to be an announcement indeed, right?
I'm just talking about co-related things that popped up today.
Okay.
Among other things, kasi like the other thing is yung sinabi ni Secretary Anyo na even in your house, it's advisable.
Dapat nakamask
Yeah.
na.
Magmaskara na rin.
Parang ano,
Kasi
no?
nakakahawa.
Yeah. Sobrang nakapraning na lahat, no? Even in your own home. That's true,
Yun lang,
no?
well, theoretically, it does make sense theoretically, pero practically, I don't know how that can be translated in the Philippine setting with so many people
Right.
who live so close together. Na it's not just the mask anymore that will matter. It's everything that you touch all around you in a small confined space.
I know Michael V saying, for example, that he believes he got the virus from the deliveries, no? Kasi daw excited siya lagi na son that he forgot to disinfect because it's the only reason now he could think of na mahawa siya. So it set everybody really paranoid on whether or not the virus is in the home. Pero paano yung mga mag-asawa nga, di ba? I think a senator said that na natutulog na sa isang kamay. Paano physical distancing? So, this is really going to be pala.
Pero may case study kanina si Ryan na mag-asawa sila, although they're both frontliners sa medical profession, so I suppose it's understandable kasi pareho silang nasa ospital. Kahit natutulog sila, nakamask sila.
Well, yeah, kasi nga exposed sila.
Because they are direct exposed sa mga hospital. So that of course is a different matter altogether compared to ordinary people like us. But
ni Secretary Anyo, kasi in every household naman, merong lumalabas to buy groceries, to buy food items. So pambalik niya, paano mo nga naman malalaman na di ba na wala siyang nasagap na virus? I think that's where the suspicion was arising from.
But anyway, before we go to the COVID topic, which will be later on, because we will also talk about the Bayanihan Part 2 bill. It's not yet through with the BICAM. We'll talk about first what happened in Beirut. And we have online with us tonight the Chargé d'Affaires of the Philippine Embassy in Lebanon. Si Chargé d'Affaires, Ajeet Panemanglor. He's coming online.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, po. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you for having me.
What time is it there, sir?
Right now, 5 hours.
Minus 5 hours, so 3:40.
Hapon. So, as we speak, may mga protests ba na nangyayari dyan?
Yes,
kasi, di ba? It's a continuing thing.
Yes, but there are ongoing protests right now while the government is holding a cabinet session. The protests have been ongoing for, I think this is the 3rd day already.
Yes. Well, first of all, we want to ask about the Filipinos there. What are the final numbers in terms of casualties?
As of today, we have 47 injured, 4 dead, and 2 missing. These aren't final numbers because we keep getting reports of other injured Filipinos, so we keep updating it on the hour. So this is just the latest figure that we have, but we have numbers that are still coming in.
What is the extent of the injury? of most of the Filipinos who did get injured?
Most are have been. I mean, I can't say they were lightly injured, no, but most are not in the hospital, although they have been pretty badly bruised and cut. But we have 9 who are in the hospital right now. And our embassy through the labor office is keeping tabs on them and visiting them. We've already been in touch with them, and we're going to continue to monitor their situation.
Mhm.
We understand that many of them want to come back here. Reason for you to actually arrange a repatriation move, right?
Yes, yes. We have had inquiries from many Filipinos who want to leave. And so right now we're arranging a chartered flight on August 16. We've already filled it. So this will be flying out about 410 Filipinos. And given the demand, we're going to be arranging future flights very soon.
Uh, yes.
Sir, how many Filipinos do we have there in Lebanon? The last figure I saw kasi was 2013 pa eh. That was around 29,000, but that was 7 years ago. So, and
Apo.
I think over the past few months, medyo nabawasan kasi even before the pandemic, even before the blast, marami na nag-uuwian dahil I think there's some sort of economic crisis, currency crisis, and political crisis sa Lebanon. So medyo nahihirapan din yung mga Lebanese to employ Filipinos as well.
Mhm. Yes, actually, this was the previous repatriations were also through the effort of the embassy and the DFA. Since December 2019, we've been repatriating Filipinos who are affected by the economic crisis here. We've already flown out 1,508 Filipinos on almost 20 flights. And so this is an ongoing program, but we've just sped up the departure of this latest chartered flight due to the explosion. So right now we have about 33,000 Filipinos here. Most
33?
are household 33,000, yes po. And most are household service workers, so most are women.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, yeah.
Sir, but
Okay,
is it true, sir? Tama, Ami Pamintuan's online.
Yeah, let's
Ami
welcome
Pamintuan on
Ami
the Star.
Good
Pamintuan.
evening. Good evening. Happy Monday. Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Okay, sa intro.
Well,
Thank you. Thank you.
not very happy. Siguro tanungin ko, sir, kasi marami ko nakitang mga video ng mga karamihan sa mga workers natin doon, nag-post sila ng mga video. They're so dramatic. Yung isa, hinahawakan pa niya yung kasama niyang bata, bigla na lang sumabog. Maybe you can tell us your personal experience, yung naranasan ninyo during the blast.
Actually po, we saw the entire blast from the embassy, no? The
wow.
embassy is, yes po, luckily po the embassy is some distance away from the city center, but we're on a mountainous area, so we have a panoramic view of the city. So we were having a short meeting and facing the window when the explosion happened. And even though we were quite some distance away, we felt the shock wave. We were pushed across the room. And so I can only imagine how much stronger the shockwave was for people who were in the vicinity of the port where the explosion happened.
So yung sa shockwave, hindi pala siya parang earthquake na nag-shake yung ground. Para pala siyang yung ganun talaga, yung blast.
Yes po. We were even on the 4th floor of the embassy. So we were pushed across the room. So it's in the air po.
Yeah.
Pag ganyan you feel it in your chest eh. It knocks the air out of your chest.
Oo, delikado talaga, no?
So,
Opo.
nung nangyari po yun, sir, did you think that it was ammonium nitrate or that it was an accident or did, terrorism scenarios cross your mind? Because initially, even U.S. President Donald Trump called it a terrorist act. No? Did that occur to you, knowing as how in Lebanon, the political tensions have been high?
Opo. Well, unfortunately po, this region this country has a history of such incidents po, no? So it's one of the things that we considered when the blast happened, that it might have been some kind of attack. But the authorities were very quick to clear it up that it was an accident and it was an explosion of ammonium nitrate. So right now the investigation is ongoing. It's so far being done by local authorities. So we'll see what the final results of the investigation are. But right now, all indications was that it was really a very, very unfortunate accident.
So the trepidation of Filipinos there is arising from the blast or from the political situation where now it's become even worse, no? Where five cabinet secretaries, I believe, have resigned. And so, what will be the reason? What is the reason behind their fear? So much so that they want to come home already.
Yes po. Previously, it was economic po, no? The country is right now going through a very bad economic situation, and our Filipino workers here were very badly affected as well. So most of the 1,508 Filipinos we evacuated previously were leaving because of the economic downturn here.
Yes.
But because of the explosion, I think this has reinforced their desire to leave. A lot of people are scared. And see a very difficult situation if they remain here. So we did indeed get a lot of inquiries for repatriation immediately after the explosion.
Mr. Manglar,
Sir.
so saan ngayon nakatira yung mga Filipinos? They have lost their homes. Nasa embassy ba sila or do you have special housing for the displaced Filipinos?
We have had some Filipinos get in touch with us expressing that they're homeless right now. So the embassy runs a shelter and a center, so two facilities, and we've accommodated some of them here. We don't have a widespread reports of homelessness amongst the Filipinos, thankfully. So most have still managed to keep their housing, no? But we have had some, and so we've housed them in our center, our embassy center.
So yung 33,000 Filipinos in Lebanon, how many of those, or is it a significant percentage that are in Beirut?
A significant percentage of them are in Beirut. We have some in the north and south of the country, but Lebanon is a very small country. And Beirut is the economic center of it. So most of those Filipinos are indeed here in Beirut.
Of course, sir, I imagine that they're aware also of the situation here in the Philippines in regard to COVID, as well as the recession. Don't they have fears that life might be worse off here?
Because right now, I think the consideration is whether they would have work here, no? Because if they have no work here and they're foreigners here, then they're indeed much more vulnerable here. So it would be better to be in the Philippines, where at least we can seek assistance from the government, where we're in our own country and with our family members, and we have a support system. A lot of them right now are here alone or only with friends, and without work, they really have no options. So I think this is the consideration of many of our kababayans, that really it's much safer and they would get more support in our own country.
Bukod po ba sa mga domestic helper, ano pa po ba ang mga trabaho ng mga Pinoy dyan?
Really po, over 90% po are household service workers. So most po talaga ay mga kababaihan, ay mga domestic helpers po. We have some who are working in salons, some who are working in restaurants as restaurant workers, but really the vast majority are household service workers.
Yun, nung in the past, kapag nagkakaganyang crisis sa in that region, yung mga kababayan natin usually naghahanap na lang ng trabaho sa ibang bansa na neighboring areas there. Sa ngayon ba, meron kayong nakukuhang ganong cases na lilipat na lang sila in other countries?
The thing is that Lebanon's only neighbors are Syria and Israel.
Syria.
And so I don't think it's an option for our kababayans to move to the neighboring countries, no. So really, right now, if they wish to seek employment abroad, we would advise them to take the repatriation flight and just seek further employment from the Philippines. It would be much safer for them that way.
Meron ba sa kanilang merong ano? Have you registered any COVID cases among the Filipinos there?
Right now, we have had only 5 confirmed COVID cases. So thankfully, the community has been spared COVID. Unfortunately, one of the 5 was our late Ambassador Bernardita Catalia, who passed away
Yeah.
from the
Yes.
disease. So this was a big blow to the embassy. But otherwise, we have had only 5 reported cases. The other 4 are the 2 of the 4 have recovered. The other 2 are still undergoing treatment.
So lahat po sila pagdating dito, magka-quarantine ng 2 weeks. And paano po yung uwian nila sa kanilang mga probinsya? Baka madagdag kaya yan sa mga locally stranded, hopefully not, mga LSIs. Meron na bang plano kung paano sila makauwi?
Opo, when they arrive po, they will be met by DFA and also by OWA officials. And so there will be indeed mechanisms to ensure that they're not stuck in Manila when they arrive.
Yes.
That after their quarantine, definitely they will be given assistance for returning home. So we're coordinating on the Philippine end so that our kababayans will not just arrive in the airport, but they will continue to receive assistance.
Before the pandemic, we had problems already with our OFWs in that part of the world. Kumusta naman po yan? Hindi ba yung case ni Demafelis, that was a Lebanese, di ba? Kumusta yung mga kasong yon? Cases of abuse. Meron pa bang mga ganong cases na you are handling right now?
The embassy regularly gets reports of abuse and our assistance to nationals team is dedicated to handling this, to interacting with police here, and also dealing with employers who are abusive and seeking justice for our kababayans. Right now our entire focus is on the repatriation, but the day-to-day operations of the assistance to national teams really does involve dealing with cases of abuse.
Paano po yung mga nasa ospital pa? I imagine that they will be probably reserved for the next phase if there is such a thing. No? Do you imagine that there will be another phase of repatriation, considering that there are only 400 coming home now, no? So, yeah.
We definitely we have future flights planned. So this will not be the last flight. As I mentioned, the voluntary mass repatriation program has been ongoing since December, even before the blast. So I think we've had more than 18 flights already. And so this flight is we've brought up the schedule of this flight because of the explosion. This flight is just one of the flights in our mass repatriation program, and we'll definitely have more, especially given the situation now, and it will be very soon po. So any of our injured kababayans who are too injured to fly with this flight will be put on the next flight.
Sir, before Beirut used to be known as the Paris of the Middle East, but that was before the 1975 civil war in Lebanon. Now looking at the pictures and images of Beirut now, it almost looks like it's back to the 1970s. I'm wondering if you're expecting a major dislocation of Filipino overseas workers who are now based there in Beirut because of what happened. I mean, of course, a lot of Filipinos now want to come back home, pero do you expect an even greater dislocation, economic dislocation of Filipinos there because of what happened with blast?
I think the blast just added to a difficult situation with the economic crisis here in Lebanon. So even before the blast, we were expecting that the Filipinos here will continue to ask for repatriation. Definitely, the blast has made the situation more difficult. And so we anticipate that even after this chartered flight, we'll continue to get requests for repatriation, and which is why we do plan future flights to leave for the Philippines.
Yes, sir. Well, I asked that kasi sabi nga ninyo, you have 33,000 Filipinos, well, of course, all over Lebanon, with 1,000 being scheduled ready for repatriation in the next few days or next few weeks. But generally, how many thousands of Filipinos do you think will have to be brought home in the next few months?
We hope po it won't be thousands of Filipinos, but each plane will definitely carry several hundred po. I can't really say po if a significant number of the 33,000 will want to leave, but we're prepared po for really an influx of Filipinos wanting to leave. We definitely anticipate several hundred will want to leave in the next few months.
Kasi
So voluntary ito for now.
Yes,
you don't
this is
see
what.
it. Yes, you don't see it getting to a point where our government will probably mandate that all Filipinos there be brought home. You don't see that happening given the political tensions there.
We can't say po, no, because the explosion at least is not a continuing situation. It's finished,
right.
po. But we'll have to wait and see how the political situation plays out. Right now, it hasn't devolved into too much violence. The protesters po were dispersed, but at least the protests are only happening in the city center. So the rest of the country has not been as affected. But we'll have to wait and see how their government withstands po the anger of protesters right now, to see whether the situation becomes more violent. For now, the repatriation is voluntary. So what our Assistance to Nationals team here has been doing is contacting Filipinos and asking them if they want to leave. And Filipinos who do want to leave have also been contacting us. So it's definitely right now only voluntary.
Okay. Chargé d'Affaires Ajeet Panemanglor of the Philippine Embassy in Lebanon. Sir, maraming salamat po for joining us.
Thank you very
sir.
much po.
Thank you.
Thank you po.
Thank you.
Thank you po.
Yeah.
We will just pause our break, so please stay with us.
Welcome back to the Chiefs. We are now in the final stage of our conversation. We just discussed the situation of our kababayans in Beirut, but now we move back to our problem here, the pandemic and the response. And we'd like to welcome our next guest, Bayan Muna Party-list Representative Carlos Zarate. Congressman, welcome. Good evening. Welcome to the Chiefs.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Magandang gabi po.
Okay, formally passed na yung Bayanihan to Recover as One Act. And
Yes.
Ang pinakamalaking reklamo doon ng ating economic team kulang daw sa pondo. But I think you have other observations about it. Maybe you can tell us about it.
Yes, nakasa na kanina third reading sa House,
Yes.
yung Bayanihan to Recover as one or Bayanihan Part 2. It's 162 billion ang version ng House, bigger than the version ng Senate na 140 billion.
Yes.
But to us, we voted no, dahil during the debates, hinihingi muna natin yung accounting ng executive. Paano ba niya ginamit yung pondo na inalaw sa kanya, poder na binigay sa kanya ng Kongreso during the Bayanihan Tuhilas 1 Part 1, no? If you can recall, in March, binigyan ng kapangyarihan si Presidente Duterte to realign, to reprogram the budget, to respond to this pandemic. But going through the data provided by the executive, as of June, for example, 92.3% na ng kabuuang budget ng 2020 ay nai-release na ng executive. And that amounts to something like 3.73 trillion. No? But kung papansinin mo, ang napunta doon sa COVID intervention ay nasa 374 billion lang. And yung 374 billion noon, kalakhan noon, nanggaling pa sa pooled savings this year and the previous years. So what we are saying is, binigyan ka ng kapangyarihan, yung pondong napakalaki, no? Para sabi natin, ang pangunahing problema ngayon ay yung COVID-19, bakit hindi mo ginamit yung kapangyarihan na yun? Tuloy-tuloy pa, para COVID-19 did not happen, no? At tuloy-tuloy lang yung pag-release mo ng mga pondo na supposedly ay na-realign mo na ito, no? Para pangunahing bigyan ng pondo ang COVID-19 interventions. Then suddenly the president will say in his last statement sinabi, I don't have money anymore, no? But we know that ang daming utang na ginawa ng executive, no? At maliban sa utang, meron pa itong natanggap na mga donations and grants, no, from multilateral agencies. So the real question now is, ano talaga ang sitwasyon ngayon? Ano ang saan punta yung pondo na ibigay natin sa executive? If it did it help in healing our our country and our people, or para sabihin natin we are now going to recovery? We know for a fact, for example, ngayong araw as we speak, almost 7,000 yung cases na na-report ng DOH.
So, pero kung Clay, kasi sabi po ninyo, the question is saan napunta yung pondo? Kung may point namin, anong tingin yung sagot? Kasi you are raising questions about where the money went. But from your viewpoint, saan po napunta yung pera? For example, 370 plus billion dun sa Bayanihan 1 o yung 90% ng 2020 budget?
Well, kung pagbabasihan mo doon, Ed, no, sa report, kalakhan noon, sinabi naman nila napunta doon sa cash aid, no? Yung social amelioration program. But remember, no, nasa August na tayo ngayon, hindi pa rin natatanggap ng mga kababayan natin, for example, yung second tranche ng social amelioration program, no? And yun ang gusto natin, i-liquidate ito. Sabihin sa atin, no, kung talagang kulang, kung kailangan, hindi pwedeng ang mangyayari kasi, Ed, parang bigyan mo na lang blank check uli yung executive. Like we did in Bayanihan 1. Now, we are again giving the executive a blank check, no? Although much lesser than the previous one, dahil 162 billion na lang ito. But then again, sabi nila, napakalimited ng ating resources ngayon. So, to us, dapat it is prudent, no, na bago natin bigyan ng kapangyarihan ulit or mag-concentrate ulit ng pondo sa executive, remember, this is in the nature of, wala itong pondong, hindi rin ito sinasabing supplemental budget ito, Ed, no? Dahil ang nabanggit lang doon, magmumula ito sa standby fund, which means galing ito sa unprogrammed budget,
Savings.
or ibig sabihin from savings or utang, no? Kung may savings or utang.
Yes.
Pero kung Clay, ibig ko po sabihin, sa inyong punto de vista, yung pera ba na nailabas na, saan napunta? Ito pa napunta dun sa pag-operate ng gobyerno o napunta sa kung kaninong bulsa o napunta doon sa bulsa ng SAP beneficiaries? Because yun nga po, you have raised the question as to where the money went. From your point of view po, kasi because you are raising questions on where the money went, from your point of view or from your perspective, where did the money go?
Yes, that's precisely, Ed, no, na dahil walang malinaw na accounting na ginagawa ang ating executive, we are just speculating kung saan punta. Okay, a big bulk napunta, 353 billion, sabi nila sa report nila, no weekly reports, no? Pero wala namang comprehensive report na binigay, ay napunta doon sa mga cash aid. No? But more than that, ang tanong din natin, binigyan, yung auto kanina, no, bakit tuloy-tuloy na ini-implement pa rin yung ibang mga proyekto kung kailangan talaga natin ng pondo for the 4.1 trillion budget for 2020 and you are given the chance, no, the opportunity or the power mag-realign mga pondo dyan, ay kailangan pa. Bakit ang ginamit natin ay napakaliit? At bakit galing sa savings ito? No? So, yun yung mga katanungan na gusto naming masagot sana, Ed, no? Bago tuloy-tuloy na ipasa itong Bayanihan Part 2. No? Dahil sabi ko kanina, it's another blank check na ibibigay natin sa executive.
Actually, iba naman ang sinasabi ng Senado, no? In fact, yung kanila na mas mababa pa sa pinasa ninyo. 140 lang ang sa Senado at ang dahilan nila ay dahil daw baka nga raw ma-veto dahil wala nang pagkukunan ng pondo. Paano nyo i-reconcile naman ang sinasabi ng mga senador tungkol sa pondong nilalaan ninyo na sa kanilang pananaw ay malaki at baka nga ma-reject dahil walang pagkukunan?
Yun din ang isang pinupunto namin dito. Sa totoo lang, yung 162 billion na yan, kung sabihin nating economic stimulus yan, no? Sa tingin namin, napakaliit nga talaga niyan. No? At in fact, nahuhuli na nga rin tayo sa dito sa region, no? Sa Southeast Asia region. No? At pag sinabi kasi ng economic managers o you work, gawin nyo na lang 140 billion dahil yun lang yung pera. I think that's a policy from Malacanang na sinasabi niya hindi niya priority yung economic stimulus. Mas priority niya na tuloy-tuloy lang yung napakalaking pondo, no, gamitin niya doon sa mga the usual projects, no, may mga big ticket projects niya na before COVID-19 ay napagdesisyonan ng executive na ituloy-tuloy niya. So that's contrary to the statement of even may Malacanang na ang pangunahing problema natin ngayon ay ang COVID-19 nga.
So kung kayo po ang nagda-draft nito, halimbawa, ano po bang kinokontra ninyo? Yung halaga? Kasi or yung breakdown? Or kung uumpisahan nyo, kayo po ang gagawa ng bill, no? Ano ba dapat ang tamang pondo? Or you're just saying na, teka lang, wala pang accounting yung una eh. Bakit tayo magbibigay ngayon? Ano ba talagang pinanggagalingan nyo? Sir?
Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
For example, dito na lang sa usapin ng mass testing. No? Sa House version, there's a 12 billion budget for testing. But this 12 billion, kung babasahin mo yung version ng House, ay hindi naman talaga fully mapupunta ito doon sa mass testing. No? In fact, ang nakalagay doon sa House version, ang kontra nito, gamitin to capacitate more the DOH, at gamitin din ito sa iba pang mga diseases that that our country may encounter in the future, no? Or while this law is in effect. So, sabi namin, ang pangailangan natin ngayon ay talagang totohanan na free mass testing doon sa mga vulnerables at yung contact tracing na kailangan ito ang isang sinasabing problema natin at yung hiling ng ating mga frontline healthcare workers na they will be supported. So dapat linawin yun. Ang nangyari kasi dito Ed at Luchi, no, na parang lump sum lang ito o 12 billion, no? Ang proposal sana namin ay linawin, no? Talagang, for example, dito sa 12 billion, magkano bang mapunta doon sa free mass testing na yan? No? At talagang sasabihin na ito ay para doon sa mga vulnerables. Gaya ngayon, kaya naman tumaas ulit sa tingin ko yung problema natin sa infection dahil yung ating mga manggagawa dyan sa Laguna, sa mga exclusive economic zone, ay mga economic zone dyan, no? Mga pinapasok lang natin sila, hindi sila nag-undergo ng thorough o yung kahit yung sabi nila gold standard of testing. No? So, pag ganito, no, ang namin, hindi rin natin nasusolusyonan yung problema, And yung sinasabi nating stimulus, well, not really an stimulus, but just, uh, just a program, no? Na instead of solving the problem, ay baka maging worse lang yung problema natin. Despite, given the fact that we have a very limited resources.
Yung hinihingi yung accounting from the executive, have you had any word from Malacanang or the Department of Budget and Management kung sasagutin nga nila yung mga concerns ninyo? Na nakahanda ba silang ipakita sa inyo kung paano ginastos to? Kasi hindi lang naman kayo nanghihingi niyang accounting na yan eh. Yung ibang quarters din yung sabi, saan ba napunta yung pondo natin? Have you had any word from the DBM, for example, kung sasagot nga sila?
Hanggang ngayon kasi napaka-evasive, no? Basta lang sinabi nila, wala nang pera, no? Tapos, kaya siguro another opportunity to engage and confront them is during nitong budget hearing na naman, no? Basta sinabi lang ng Malacanang at narinig naman natin ito sa kanilang mga public statements, you only have, they can only spare 140 billion. Kaya siguro yun ang nilabas ng Senate, no? So, I don't know how they will... Yes.
Sir, ito lang binabasa ko ngayon. Part of the breakdown for the 162 billion peso standby fund is 10 billion for the country's expanded COVID-19 testing capacity. So, sir, meron naman nun. So, ang gusto ko malaman, sa dami itong breakdown naman nila, no, 10 billion for the 10.5 billion for healthcare workers, 3 billion for PPEs, etc. It's pretty specific, no? So, ano doon ang sa tingin ninyo hindi nararapat? Sinasabi niyo lang ba nga na ay wala pang accounting yung una, naglalabas na naman tayo? Or sa tingin niyo may mali dito sa bill na to? Kung meron man, ano po yun?
Yeah, magkasama yun, no? Yung paninigil natin na accounting. Tapos dito nga sa House version, ang sa tingin namin dito sa House version, puro lump sum lang, no? Gaya ng nabanggit ko kanina, 12 billion mapunta rito. Tapos there's another 50 billion for the government financial institution for MSMEs, no? Etc. Then several other mga projects and programs, no? But again, as a matter of principle, sabi nga namin, bago na ito, dahil napaka lump sum ang dating nito, tapos walang binigay na accounting sa atin yung executive, ano uli ang mangyayari dito, no? Given that yung the bigger amount, the 370 plus billion, no, sa Bayanihan 1 ay hanggang ngayon ay nagkakapatay sa dilim. Remember, for the 2020 budget, halos ubos na ito, no? Dahil na-release na ito ng Malacanang, no? So, saan kukunin uli ito ang pondo na ito? Kahit sabihin natin 162 billion lang yan, no? So, sabi nila, it's a standby fund. So again, malulubog tayo sa utang nito dahil kung hindi man ito manggagaling sa savings, kung meron pang savings, ay manggagaling ito sa utang. So, kaya kailangan busisihin talaga namin. Yun ang tingin namin. Kaya as a matter of principle, ay hindi kami pwedeng pumayag na basta nalang magpasa ng isang batas just because there's a need for an economic stimulus.
Sir, yung Bayanihan too, it's supposed to be a recovery, it's a stimulus package for different sectors. Merong statement ngayon yung Tourism Congress of the Philippines. Yan yung mga industry players, nagreklamo sila, imbis na sa kanila daw mapunta yung bailout fund, ibinigay daw lahat sa TIESA, yun ng Department of Tourism. Tama ba yon?
Well, yun yung isa atang napasok doon sa amendments, no? There's a 10 billion na supposedly for...
Yes.
And doon sa final version ay nabigay nga, no? So, kaya nagreklamo rin ng isang sector, no? So probably this will be pagdating sa BICAM, dahil ay magkakaroon talaga ng BICAM ito, dahil magkaiba yung amount, then doon na naman ang labanan niyan sa BICAM.
Ano pong nakikita yung alternatibo kung hindi po itong Bayanihan to recover as one? Paano po natin popondohan ang plano to fight the pandemic? and to get us going again. I mean, if not this, what?
Well, I have to make it clear, no? Hindi rin naman namin sinasabi na ayaw natin ng stimulus, no? Kami mismo naniniwala kami na in fact too late na nga, no? Dahil ang during our first regular session ay talagang pinagdidebatihan yung napakarami mga proposals, no? But it was not made as certified then as urgent, no? So kami nagtutulak rin kami, no? Kaya meron kaming bill on free mass testing, no? And very specific yung mga proposals namin. Then pagdating ng final version, dahil halimbawa even sa agriculture, no, very specific na yung ating mga farmers ay hindi dapat ay makatanggap dapat ng direktang ayuda, no? But hindi itong wala na silang pera pero ang ibigay mo sa kanila ay pautang at may interest, no? So these are the things na yes.
So halimbawa, ito nga po may 20 billion for the agriculture sector. Of course, it's low interest credit. Halimbawa, yan na lang po. Ano pong mali ron? Are you saying, for example, that the 20 billion is not enough, or that there shouldn't be any interest even? We'll just give the money to farmers directly. Parang I'm just trying to figure out what can be done, because that's what everybody's been asking the government, a master plan for recovery, no? So hindi rin siguro pwedeng pati-pingi, di ba?
Yes, that's a good point. No? Pinoint out din namin yan. Talagang maliit yun, no? Especially kung titingnan mo na even before dumating itong COVID-19 pandemic, ay talagang hirap na nahambalos na itong ating agriculture sector, especially ang ating rice industry, no, dahil nga sa pagpasa ng import liberalization law, tinamaan pa nitong pandemic. Tapos ngayon, sa panahon ng pandemya, kung nagkaroon man ng ayuda, no, especially sa sa sector ng agrikultura, puro pautang, no? Mga pautang ito. Wala na nga silang kahit na yung mga sinabi nating yung mga fertilizer na sinabi nila na ayuda, no? Nagkaroon pa ng mga usapin doon sa overpricing. So ang nangyayari ngayon, no? Gaya na nabanggit ko kanina, kung magtutulak tayo ng economic stimulus, ay talagang dapat, no? Hindi lang economic stimulus yan, medical health and economic stimulus, pagsama-samahan yan para bumangon yung ating ekonomiya. Pero pag ganito na even ang Malacanang mismo ay parang hindi siya ganoon kagangho, no, to pursue an economic stimulus, then saan na mapunta ito, no? Parang nagbibigay lang tayo ng pinapaasa lang natin ang ating mga mamamayan o meron na tayo, makarecover na tayo if we have this kind of law, no, that is 140 billion. To us, hindi acceptable yun.
But we were talking to Congressman Kimbo the other week, no? And she was in effect saying nga, no, that yung binibigay nga po ngayon sa SAP na 5,000 to 8,000 ay maliit na halaga. And there are other congressmen who feel the same way, no? In other words, they all agree nga precisely that we have to give more in order to spur consumption, which in turn will stimulate the economy. And then there's also more infrastructure projects because they believe in the multiplier effect of infrastructure. So what are you saying now? I mean, if we're going to pursue that, surely we need to fund it. So, so anong approach ninyo kung sasabihin nyo naman na wag na yan, kulang pa yan, hindi, gusto ko lang paunawaan, ano po ang nais ninyong plan? What to you is an ideal recovery plan?
In principle, no, I agree with Congresswoman Kimbo. Talagang pinaghirapan nila din ito during the break, no? Yung mag-come up ng isang comprehensive economic stimulus economic, health, and medical, no? That's ang I think ang version ng House is 1.3 trillion, no? Talagang lahat ng sektor, no?
Yes.
Manggagawa,
Right.
may focus, no? Kung ano itong mga industries na dapat tulungan natin. Dahil one year na nakuha natin dito sa pandemya, kailangan palakasin natin yung ating public healthcare system, or even the end in general, our ating healthcare system. At dapat mga industriya, kung meron man tayong stimulus, no, na itutulak, ang mga industriya ay malaking bahagi tutulungan ito. No, halimbawa ngayon, nakita pala natin na nalagayan, mag-produce tayo ng mga mask, ng mga face shield, at etc. Iba, ventilators, and
Right.
the rest, no? So, ito yung very comprehensive dapat yung pagtingin natin dahil stimulus nga ito, economic stimulus, no? So dapat may, ang nangyayari kasi ngayon, tuloy-tuloy lang yung mga pre-COVID-19 projects. Ang tanong, ito ba yung pangailangan natin? Ito ba yung dapat tutunduan pa rin natin despite the fact na meron na tayong severe crisis ngayon?
I see. So you're saying we have no need for this. We can just go straight to, say, ARISE, which is the economic stimulus package proposal. Yung bagong ano, hindi na kailangan itong bayanihan na to.
Yes, dahil kung stimulus ang pangangailangan, bakit pitsi-pitsi? No? Parang binibigyan ka lang ng ito muna, may kende rito, tanggapin nyo na lang muna ito dahil ito lang kakayanin ko.
Okay.
No? Then that defeats the purpose sa tingin namin.
Okay.
If I sige po, ikaw muna.
Hindi, tanong
Kasi
ko
iba
lang.
akong topic eh. Iba akong topic.
Ito na rin ako kasi medyo related. Yun lang sa PhilHealth kasi it's also the pandemic response. And you're deliberating on the funding for the departments, the agencies. Ano po ang ngayon dyan sa House para sa pagpopondo ng mga pangangailangan ng PhilHealth? Sinabi na nila na hindi naman daw sila mababankrupt, but they will need more funds, di ba? Obviously, dahil sa pandemya.
Well, ito ngayon, no? What is happening now to PhilHealth is emblematic of the problem ng ating healthcare system dahil inasa talaga natin ang ating healthcare doon sa concept ng insurance, no? And then every year, very deceptive ang budget. Parang pag nakita natin na ipapas budget, napakalaki ng pondo sa DOH. But in reality, a big chunk of that budget goes to PhilHealth. No? And yung budget ng mga operating expenses ng ating mga pampublikong ospital, yung ating mga capital expenditures para magtayo pa ng mga dagdag na ospital, ay taon-taon tinatapyasan. Pero itong budget ng PhilHealth, palaki ng palaki. No? For this year, binigyan sila ng 71 billion out of the 153 billion na hiningi nila or 253 billion. No? So, ngayon, nakita natin na year in and year out, no, itong pangatlong termino ko na ito sa House, hindi ata nawawala sa bawat kongreso ang investigasyon sa PhilHealth. No? So, I think dahil dito sa pandemya ng COVID na ito at itong nakita na namang problema sa PhilHealth, I think we have to rethink, no? Magkaroon tayo ng pagkaroon ng paradigm shift, if I may say so. Ano ba talaga gusto nating mangyayari sa ating healthcare system?
Kung kalay, may baka ng kaunti naman, of course, you're aware of what happened to Randa Lechanes, yung chairperson ng Anak Pawis. But there's some confusion dun sa details ng mga nangyari. There was a statement, I think, released by Anak Pawis that said that he was stabbed to death, although may cloud of doubt over what really happened. And there were some people who were insisting that the police raided his house. And ang problema namin, wala pang police report. We can't seem to get a police report as of this time, even though it happened this morning. So from your end at least, what do we know?
What I learned, Ed, is from lawyer ng Anak Pawis, no, si Attorney Lucci, na he was really stabbed. No? Sinaksak siya, contrary to the initial reports na binaril siya. No? At this point, mga unidentified pa rin yung mga taong pumasok doon sa kanyang bahay or sa rentahan niyang bahay at dalawa nga sila ang namatay doon. No? Yung katabi niyang kwarto ata na may nakatira rin isa, pinatay rin. No? So hanggang ngayon, hindi ko pa rin nakuha yung buong storya, no? But ang siyempre, alam naman natin, no, publicly known na naman si Mr. Chancellor Carandi na siya ay tagapangulo ng Anak Pawis Party-list at siya ay isang consultant sa peace process ng National Democratic Front of the Philippines, no? At
Confirm po yun, Congressman, kasi sinasabi din ng PNP hindi daw yun si Mr. Chan.
kinonfirm na
Ano sinasabi nila?
yes, kasi pumunta na yung kanilang legal counsel doon, no? At he was identified. I think the confusion happened because parang may nakuhang ID, no? Na
ID,
ibang pangalan nata ang nakalagay doon. It's
the body has been identified.
A certain Santiago yung nakalagay doon sa ID. So siguro nag-conclude ang police na si Santiago yan, no? But in-identify na siya nung legal counsel ng Anak Pawis later kung nakuha. She confirmed, no, that it was really Carandi talaga yung napaslang.
Pero sir, hindi ho totoo yung early reports that there was a police raid. Is that correct? Kasi the early report that we were hearing was that may raid ng mga police. Tapos
parang hindi yun yung very sketchy kasi at that time, Ed, no, mangyari at ito past midnight. So yung mga initial reports ngayon lang na-confirm, no, na sinaksak siya and hindi pa matukoy talaga kung sino yung mga grupong yun, no? Although they have already suspicions, but I am not at liberty to disclose it.
So hindi pa sigurado na state forces kasi yun yung original na statement na state forces daw ang nang raid.
My statement ng Pawis and probably and even the KMP, no, in-update na rin nila yung statement nila. I think they will stand by their own statement. So,
yes.
But more importantly sa amin naman, sa Makabayan Black, kinukondina namin ito, no, dahil ano na naman ito, no, talagang yung state of impunity sa ating bayan ay talagang lukman na lang malala na, no. Even sa panahon ng pandemya ng COVID ay parang walang tigil yung mga ganitong pangyayari, no, na tuloy-tuloy yung pagpaslang, no. In fact sa aming ranks noong April 30 yung aming coordinator, for example, sa Iloilo City, si Jury Porque ay pinaslang din, binaril, no. Kahit dahil involved siya doon sa he was also publicly vilified and maligned in the past, no. Parang ganun din ang nangyari kay Carandi. At ito yung sinasabi namin noon, no, na itong halimbawa in relation dito sa passage nitong terror law, even before the passage of this terror law, kahit kami mismo sa Makabayak publicly binabansagan kami kahit mga nasa gobyerno ng mga terorista kami, no. So ang mahirap kasi sa ganyang red tagging and vilification, no, you are parang talagang openly you are a target, no? Either for trump up charges, but worse, target ka for physical harm, and worse, papatayin ka.
Okay. Congressman Kaloy Zarate, sir, maraming salamat po for joining us tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Magandang gabi rin, maraming salamat sa atin.
Magandang gabi po. And that will be all for this edition of the Chiefs. We hope to discuss here. We'll keep the conversation going. I'm Ajeet News.
I'm Ami Pamintuan of the Philippine Star.
And I'm Lucy Cruz Valdez of News 5, and we are One News.